Hello again. Welcome to the fourth video in our series. In this video, we're going to look at workplace etiquette, drama in the workplace, and the effect of positivity in our pharmacies. Now, we've looked at communication quite extensively, and we've covered how to interact with and treat our customers. Now I'd like to look at how we interact with and treat the people that we work with. When I start going through these rules, I know you're going to be thinking, this is silly, we know all of this stuff, it's all basic politeness. And I thought the same when I first started researching this video, but then I thought about it some more, and I realized that it's still good to have these reminders, no matter how trivial they may seem. Because one, not everyone had good mentors to show them the etiquette ropes, and two, and probably more importantly, we are living in busy, stressful times. We have work responsibilities and family responsibilities, and we're so busy in all aspects of our lives that we've lost sight of or forgotten some of these basics. We've just become complacent. Courtesy is a learned and practiced trait. Courtesy, respect, etiquette, manners, all used to be part of the formal curriculum many years ago. So here is a reminder of how we should be treating our bosses, our managers, our colleagues, our reps, our drivers, anyone we come in contact with in the pharmacy. Always respect each other and any rules already established in your pharmacy. Always be punctual. Being late, especially on a regular basis, is disrespectful. It shows that you don't care about your colleagues or your role within the team, because guess who's going to have to take up the slack when you're late? Always be polite. Remember to say please and thank you. Thank you in itself can make a huge impact on someone else. Thank your colleagues for everyday things like cleaning the shelves, and most definitely when they've done something that you thought was extraordinary, whether it was taking on one of your jobs for the day or helping a customer in a particularly good way. There are a million opportunities to thank someone every day. I recently read a blog where the writer explained that she tried something new, just for 1 week. Instead of saying I'm sorry, she decided to change that into thank you. So for instance, when arriving late for a meeting, instead of saying sorry I'm late, she'd say thank you for waiting for me. Instead of saying sorry for going on and on and on, she'd say thank you for listening. Doesn't that sound much better? Don't get me wrong, saying sorry has its place in our everyday lives, like accidentally bumping into someone, expressing sympathy or empathy towards another person, and allowing others to see that you're expressing genuine regret for a mistake. But in certain situations, there is a much better way to apologize that will not only fulfill your need to say sorry, but also allow the other person to feel much better. I also feel that as South Africans, we tend to apologize instinctively for things that we don't need to be sorry for. Like instead of excuse me when you're trying to squeeze past someone, we say I'm sorry. Well, I know I certainly do. Anyway, I love the article and the concept, and at the end of this video, I've added the link to the article. I think you'll find it very interesting as well. Let's get back to those rules. Exchange normal pleasantries, such as good morning or good evening. Just because you become familiar with your colleagues and spend a lot of time with them, doesn't mean you can ignore or forget simple pleasantries. Be truly present at work. This is not the time for your social life or for dissecting your weekends or for Facebooking and WhatsApping with your friends. It's definitely not the time to be on your phone. Your colleagues may feel annoyed if they're working hard and every time they look up, you're on your phone. It's rude and disrespectful. Don't forget to add a smile, even if you don't feel like it on a given day. Fake it till you make it. Faking it can actually modify your attitude. Psychologists believe that we don't smile because we're happy, but rather that we are happy because we smile. And if my previous videos don't tell you how much I believe in the power of a smile, then nothing will. Lend a helping hand. Answer the phone. Come out from behind the till. Do something with no strings attached to lighten a colleague's load. It'll make the world of difference to the store morale. Be generous and kind to newcomers. Make them feel like they're part of the team. Be welcoming. Show them the ropes. They will appreciate your kindness immensely. Be empathetic. Take responsibility. It's the only way to resolve issues and to improve ourselves and our service. And lastly, handle disagreements and conflicts gracefully. Now let's have a look at drama in the workplace. Drama doesn't just walk into your life out of nowhere. You either create it, invite it, or associate with people who bring it. And we all fall into one of 4 types of drama tendencies: the complainer, the cynic, the controller, or the caretaker. Let's have a quick look at some of the traits of each of these people. And I'd like you to be open and honest with yourself about which category you think you fall into. Let's start with the complainer. The complainer is always making excuses, always looking to blame someone or something else, always sidestepping the tough tasks, always involved in many things but never actually finishing any, and always complaining about the lack of support and resources, and often places guilt on others. The complainers don't typically like to sit in discomfort. They might lack some coping skills. Complainers want clear boundaries backed by compassionate support and guidance. The cynic. The cynic discounts the ability of others and points out their flaws, stays closed to the direction, feedback, or advice of others, refuses to change, and will manipulate or outwit others to achieve their goals, and they relish in the role of devil's advocate. Typically, cynics are intelligent and creative individuals, and they can understand and manage complex situations, but they'll go to great lengths to prove that they're smarter and better than others. They are driven by the need to be right, and they like to see some recognition for their ideas. The controller. This person insists on overseeing every decision and refuses to delegate, will hijack discussions and will order others around. They set impossible expectations. They place productivity, efficiency, and action above relationships. They easily lose patience with indecisive people and become angry when confronted. They will ignore and challenge superiors' direction. Controllers tend to be perfectionists, and they want to be in control of everything. They are often workaholics, but will set goals that are unachievable for both themselves and others. And lastly, the caretaker. The caretaker constantly seeks the approval of others, sacrifices their personal well-being for the happiness of others, will avoid any form of conflict or aggression, often over-promising and then either missing their deadlines or under-delivering. They assume more than 100% of responsibility for problems, and thus enabling continued drama in others. They rush to the aid of others and therefore stunt their emotional and professional growth, and they set weak boundaries. Caretakers want to help others. They want to feel appreciated, and they want to live in a stable, calm environment. They are typically very productive, as long as they don't take on more than they can handle. A caretaker will often struggle in a leadership role where a lot of delegation is required. Now we're going to take a look at how to deal with these different drama types. If you're dealing with a controller, an unhealthy way to approach that person is by cowering or not talking because you're afraid of what they might say. You want to hold your boundaries and teach delegation to a controller. With a caretaker personality, the unhealthy way would be to keep piling on the work. Oh, they'll do it. Don't worry, they'll get it done. What is healthy is to help them develop those boundaries and enable them to say no. For a cynic, the unhealthy approach is browbeating. That's just adding to the problem. For this, the healthy approach with a cynic is to show them the possibilities, really lay on that positivity. They're going to focus on all the little negative things that could go wrong, but we've got to show them the bigger picture of all those wonderful possibilities. With a complainer, what is unhealthy is giving them ultimatums, which you might find yourself in a position where you feel like you want to, because they're just whining about everything, and you kind of feel like you just want to say, you know what, either do it or go home. But the best approach would be to guide them to be more decisive and be able to view the task at hand without complaining about it. And then for all forms, for literally every type of drama, it is never going to get better if we simply ignore it. We have to have the direct conversation. Don't go sweeping it under the rug. It's never going to just magically go away. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people." One other big contributor to workplace drama is office gossip. I bet if I had asked you what office drama looks like when I started this video, almost all of you would have said gossip. It can be so detrimental to the morale of the pharmacy, and I think this quote is great to stick up in the pharmacy somewhere. We all remember that old saying our mothers and our grandmothers used to say, if you don't have something nice to say about somebody, don't say anything at all. I absolutely love this Shauna Core video on TED Talks. I'm just going to play a short clip, but I would highly recommend you go and watch the whole video. It's funny and inspiring. I've put the link at the end of this video for your convenience.
Here's how we get to health. We need to reverse the formula for happiness and success. In the past 3 years, I've traveled to 45 different countries, working with schools and companies in the midst of an economic downturn. And what I found is that most companies and schools follow a formula for success, which is this: if I work harder, I'll be more successful. And if I'm more successful, then I'll be happier. That undergirds most of our parenting styles, our managing styles, the way that we motivate our behavior, and the problem is it's scientifically broken and backwards for 2 reasons. First, every time your brain has a success, you just change the goalpost of what success looked like. You got good grades, now you have to get better grades. You got into a good school, now you have to get a better school. You got a good job, now you have to get a better job. You hit your sales target, we're gonna change your sales target. And if happiness is on the opposite side of success, your brain never gets there. What we've done is we've pushed happiness over the cognitive horizon as a society. And that's because we think we have to be successful, then we'll be happier. But the real problem is our brains work in the opposite order. If you can raise somebody's level of positivity in the present, then their brain experiences what we now call a happiness advantage, which is your brain at positive performs significantly better than it does at negative, neutral, or stressed. Your intelligence rises, your creativity rises, your energy levels rise. In fact, what we found is that every single business outcome improves. Your brain at positive is 31% more productive than your brain at negative, neutral, or stressed. You're 37% better at sales. Doctors are 19% faster, more accurate at coming up with the correct diagnosis when positive instead of negative, neutral, or stressed, which means we can reverse the formula. If we can find a way of becoming positive in the present, then our brains work even more successfully, as we're able to work harder, faster, and more intelligently. What we need to be able to do is to reverse this formula so we can start to see what our brains are actually capable of. Because dopamine, which floods into your system when you're positive, has 2 functions. Not only does it make you happier, it turns on all the learning centers in your brain, allowing you to adapt to the world in a different way. We've found that there are ways that you can train your brain to be able to become more positive. In just a 2-minute span of time, done for 21 days in a row, we can actually rewire your brain, allowing your brain to actually work more optimistically and more successfully. We've done these things in research now in every single company that I've worked with, getting them to write down 3 new things that they're grateful for 21 days in a row, 3 new things each day. And at the end of that, their brain starts to retain a pattern of scanning the world not for the negative, but for the positive first. Journaling about one positive experience you've had over the past 24 hours allows your brain to relive it. Exercise teaches your brain that your behavior matters. We find that meditation allows your brain to get over the cultural ADHD that we've been creating by trying to do multiple tasks at once, and allows our brains to focus on the task at hand. And finally, random acts of kindness or conscious acts of kindness. We get people, when they open up their inbox, to write one positive email praising or thanking somebody in their social support network. And by doing these activities and by training your brain, just like we train our bodies, what we found is we can reverse the formula for happiness and success, and in doing so, not only create ripples of positivity, but create a real revolution. Thank you very much.
Basically, in this TED Talk, Sean says, when it comes to productivity, happiness pays off big time. Research shows that if you're more positive, your brain will have a happiness advantage. What this means is that it will perform significantly better than it would at negative, neutral, or stressed. This happens because dopamine doesn't only make you happy, it also turns on all the learning centers in your brain. He also gives a few exercises that you can add to your daily routine, which will help reprogram your brain. I also like this outlook on life. The optimist sees the glass as half full. The pessimist sees the glass as half empty. But the positive person sees the jug standing next to the glasses and thinks, it doesn't matter, I'll just refill the glasses. They see all the possibilities. Negativity can so easily be felt. If the morale is down or if there are bad vibes between team members, it can impact everyone in the pharmacy, including your customers. No one wants to shop in an unhappy, depressing environment, and they're certainly not going to stay and browse, especially if they look around and see sullen, joyless faces and bickering people. And whether you are an occasional or chronic negative Nelly, you can boost the productivity of your team by making fewer negative comments and petty complaints in the workplace. But there's no need to go entirely cold turkey. A micro resolution targeting a narrow change in behavior can lead to big results. Here's the first one. Resolve not to be the first to complain about an issue at work. If you think that everyone complains as much as you do about management decisions and co-workers, put your theory to the test and see how colleagues respond when you don't take the lead in workplace griping. Secondly, resolve to limit your grousing to the lunch hour, or better yet, after work. Restricting your complaining to free time guarantees that your complaints aren't falling on captive ears and teaches you how to resist the impulse to complain in real time. And thirdly, resolve to eliminate just one topic of grievance entirely from your workplace conversation. Pick a topic: the weather, the traffic, work assignments, the foul coffee, that chatty colleague, and vow never to bitch about it again. If you can break the behavioral pattern of complaining in a targeted circumstance, you'll likely find your urge to complain and be negative diminishing in general. A positive attitude is a choice, and you can make that choice every day. Here are 5 ways a positive attitude makes you more productive. It provides more energy. A bad attitude can ruin an entire day. However, a positive attitude brings positive energy. It lifts you up and it carries you through your day. This positive momentum can drive you, even when doing tasks you don't enjoy. It makes people want to help you. Nobody wants to work with a negative person. You know the type. No matter the situation, they can find something to complain about. When we are positive, it attracts others to help you and to go even beyond what they are needed to do. It finds the silver lining. Even bad situations have a bright side or a silver lining. A positive outlook will let you see opportunities that you would have missed in your misery. And there is something good to find in almost all situations. It lets you enjoy your work. You don't have to like the task at hand to enjoy it. Whistle while you work, and everything is easier. Mundane tasks become a game. Tough work becomes a challenge. Before you know it, you'll be flying through your work. It drives your confidence. A positive attitude gives you confidence. The confidence to be sure of your abilities, to say no when necessary, to believe in yourself. When you are negative, you are quicker to cave to outside pressures, requests, and interruptions. Don't underestimate your attitude's impact on your productivity. When you walk through the door into the pharmacy in the morning, choose to be positive, put on a smile, and take charge of the day. That brings us to the end of video 4. Our beliefs about what we are and what we can be precisely determine what we can be. Until next time.